Heat Cavs coming up tonight. Hornets Knicks tonight. It was going to be on the Mothership, but Mothership got 76ers game against the Mavs. And then on Sunday, it will be the Knicks against the Mavs. He's the great play-by-play man for ESPN. He's Mike Tirico. Joins us now. Hi, Mike.
Are you healthy?
I'm better.
You're better?
You know, Belichick would probably list me as probable.
Shoulder, probable?
A probable shoulder, probable knee.
Glad you're better.
Did you ever lose your voice?
I haven't. Sadly for many. I have not. I've been very lucky with that. I haven't had to go on and do a game where you could barely talk or anything like that.
Now
Why, have you?
I've had it only one time. I've had it where it went a little raspy, almost like Demi Moore in St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah, but you could always. I remember doing highlights with you way back in the day. You could always hit a little squeaky high note at a moment's notice.
Well, I can go a cappella on your ass.
Yeah, you could.
Hell yes, I can.
Better than most.
Now you have Mavs Sixers tonight.
We do. This game was moved pre-Linsanity, like 3 or probably 4 weeks ago. Since Philly's leading this division, which nobody talks about. The Knicks are third. The Celtics are a 500 team. And Philly has 20 wins, and they're top 6 or 7 in the league, and nobody's really talking about it. So champs against a good up-and-coming team, we moved to that game probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
You're already selling it, Mike. I can hear it.
No, selling what? Lynn?
No. You would have Lynn tonight. You'd be doing the game, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, tonight? Yeah. Against the Hornets, who are just a hair above the Bobcats?
Yes. But you will call the Mavs-Knicks game on ABC on Sunday.
Correct.
Okay. If you're prepping for something like this with Jeremy Lin, it's a little bit different than just prepping basketball-wise. And you got Hubie Brown, who is one of the great basketball minds in history, but what is it that you bring out about Jeremy Lin on Sunday on ABC?
I think there are a few things, and I was surprised. There are people who have not been able to see him nationally because only the Laker game last Friday, which once he goes over 30 points against a good team that really took this thing to another level. So I think there's the curiosity factor. People want to see more than highlights and see possession by possession. I know I was like that during the week. When they played the Lakers last Friday, I was doing a game on the West Coast. So once he's played full games here, Saturday against Minnesota, and then during this week, I wanted to see every possession and see how much is really there. What's the knowledge of basketball beyond what doesn't make a highlight? And I've been impressed. And then I think the second part of that also is understanding once it hits front page of the USA Today and many papers around the country, the curiosity factor to the story has been well told, so really delve into the basketball part of if this thing can last.
I'm also seeing comparisons now with the social, cultural impact that Tiger Woods had and Jeremy Lin's role and the impact that he could have. Can you see that?
I can see it happening if this keeps going. Let's wait. I mean, I don't know how you feel. It's a couple of weeks. It doesn't mean he's not going to stay a good player. It doesn't mean he's not going to stay in the rotation. It doesn't mean he's going to stay a starter for the Knicks, and the Knicks may take off. It's 2 weeks before we jump to a guy who came to the highest level that we've seen at the Masters in terms of margin of victory, and then followed it up with other big performances and all that stuff as a crossover type athlete. Let's hang on here 5 minutes. Let's get to the Shooting Stars competition next week at the All-Star game before we start talking about this big impact.
He's Mike Tirico. Called the Mavs Sixers game. Sell it tonight at 8 Eastern on the Mothership. And then on Sunday with Hubie Brown on ABC, it'll be the Mavs against the Knicks. Mike Tirico, of course, risking his job, joining us in the Dan Patrick Show. Did you hear from anybody from the Mothership?
No. It's just not yet, at least.
Okay. Are you disappointed?
I'll let you know if I do later.
Wait, are you disappointed you didn't hear from anybody at the Mothership?
No. Hey, look, we broke bread with your buddy Rich Eisen, our buddy Rich Eisen, at the Super Bowl.
Well, we love to have you on, Mike. It's the Mothership that says nobody's allowed to come on the show.
I'm here, aren't I?
I know. I love the fact that you and Wilbon will come on the show.
It's the highlight of my day, Dan, if you want to know the truth.
All right, let's talk about 3-man to now 2-man booth, you working with John Gruden. I saw Jaws at the Super Bowl, and there's no way that he saw this coming because he was talking about renegotiating his contract. Why did this come about that Jaws is now out and it's just you and John?
Yeah, I don't know the why. As you know, there's employee and employer, and I'm employee, so I don't know the management specifics of the how and the why. I do know that there's no rift amongst any of us. We spend more time Super Bowl week hanging out. We do a 4-hour pregame on Super Bowl Sunday, and then there's an hour beforehand with SportsCenter that the three of us were doing on the field. And we spend that 5 hours just chatting away and talking about stuff leading up to the draft and the combine and all of that. So we've all been operating that we were going to be going ahead like this. So the decisions and the whys, that's somebody else's responsibility to answer and somebody else's decision. The three of us do get along great. I've talked to Jaws a couple of times already. You know, we will remain close, and I'm glad that Jaws is staying with ESPN. He's been there 20 years, and I love him to death. And we're going to continue to stay friends. Matter of fact, we're going to see each other here the next couple of weeks when I come back to Philly.
But why make this decision? If you guys got along, you spent time together, starting to blend, good numbers, Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I think the shows and the broadcasts were fine. Honestly, you would have to ask our management as to why.
But wouldn't they say something to you, Mike, because it changes your job?
It does change my job. There's no doubt. And we'll talk about what 2 is going to mean as opposed to 3, but we haven't at this point. We haven't gotten into a lengthy conversation about it. I can be honest with you about that. It's a different dynamic. Doing a booth with 2 is something that is, I guess, I haven't really done in the NFL. So it'll be very different for me, and I think it's more responsibility on me. So I know it puts more pressure on both me and John to do that job. So I don't necessarily know the real mechanics of this is why we want to do this. I know I was told earlier this week, hey, we're going with 2, and it's going to be you and John.
But what if you said then?
I'm sorry?
What if you said to management, why? Did you say why?
I did say why, and honestly, I'm not going to share that with everybody because that's not everybody's business. And the answer I got, I believe. But going forward, I'll make 2 work. I'll make 3 work. I've worked with every possible collection of people in basketball and football and every other sport. So if this is the way they want to go, that's fine. We'll make it work.
Well, I think they're all in with Gruden to make him a star, and I understand that. I'd like to see John act like he does off the air a little bit more on the air, because you know how that personality is.
Yeah.
He's funny, he's snarky, but he gets on the air. He's too nice to everybody. Everybody can play.
You know what? I think that was a legitimate criticism a couple of years ago. I think if people listen this year, they're stuck back on their criticism from a couple of years ago. John was much more aggressive in terms of honesty about players not playing. You don't have to say this guy made a terrible play to be critical of him. I think we all have a style, and I think John also has an appreciation as a coach of not every play is perfect, and being a recent coach too. I know this. I know the guy who people come to talk to in the NFL when we're traveling around about this is what we're doing, this is what we're thinking about doing. He's as up to date as any analyst I've worked with in terms of staying fresh with what's going on. So,
but what happens if he gets a call from a team?
That's a great question. Are you available?
Oh, I'm not allowed back in the mothership, Mike. You know that.
Maybe they'll make dispensation.
Who would be more?
I don't know. People have said John would be back in coaching the last 2 years, and he's still there, and he's committed for a longer period now. So, candidly, I feel he'll coach at some point down the line, but I don't think it's immediately. I think he's really, truly enjoying this despite having to spend 20 weeks with me.
What if I drove into Bristol with you, like I was in the passenger seat? Could I get on campus?
I'd be glad to smuggle you in, but I don't go. I'm rarely there anymore.
I know, but
I'm on the road doing games. I'm living out in the Midwest, and the way you used to be, a good Midwest guy. But I'd be glad to smuggle you in if you want to try.
Yeah, I don't want to go in the trunk, but just to show up in the cafeteria where I'm just sitting there eating and just see the look on management's face.
Let me be Dan Patrick for a second.
Okay.
Since I followed you on your radio show.
Yeah.
Let me be you. Why do you want to do that?
I just want to tweak him a little bit. That's all.
Let it go.
And I can never let it go. I can never let it go.
That's the beauty of you.
I can never let it go, Mike.
I understand.
Come on. And there's a couple of people there that won't let it go.
Oh.
But that's why, you know what? It empowers me when they won't let you guys on the show.
And here I am.
I know.
So how does it make you feel now? See, this is turning into a reverse interview.
Do you really think that management's going to go, yeah, you know what? We should give Dan a bone. He gave us 18 years. We should let our talent go on there and, promote our product.
I don't. Here I am.
I know. Hey,
What
look,
do you
that's
want me
big.
to do, Dan?
Yeah, I know you're only one man. Okay, how difficult was it to do a game with Tony Kornheiser in the booth with you? Even as smart as he was, as funny as he was, to still try to do a game knowing that you actually have to set up Tony?
It's very odd. very odd, very different, and a challenge I wish I was better at, because I'm so used to, and I think everybody who does this, used to turning to the person next to you and being able to talk about what just happened on the field. And you couldn't, so it took you away from the game a little bit to get there, even though it was the people related to the game. So there was that challenge. But Tony, like you said, Tony's intelligence and smarts, and also his perspective on stars and star athletes and coaches. You know, Tony was one of the joys of being around Tony is seeing the world less filtered. Tony's filter-free, and always has been and always will be, and brought that columnist, snarkiness, New York attitude to that in large part. And I think I see sports differently from the time being around Tony, the way he approached different things. But, yeah, within the body of a game, huge challenge. Because, look, there are so many pregame shows on.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time to talk about all the people around the game. For the 3 hours and 15 minutes of football, people want just the game and very little more. At least that's the way I've seen it and heard it from fans over the last few years.
Hardest working man in show business, Mike Tirico. It was great seeing it Super Bowl. That was a great dinner that we had with Rich Eisen, and
he paid.
Oh my God! How long did he tell us that he paid? He announced it. I'm surprised he didn't put it on Twitter. And then Jay Glazer, we found out his girlfriend shaves his back. I mean, it was really one of those eye-opening experiences at a dinner.
I got a hug from you, and that's really all that matters.
But it was great to see you,
yeah,
and I'm happy for you. As always, tell the wife and kids we said hello.
Ditto, and I appreciate my last appearance on your show. Thanks.
Well done. Well done.
Brother.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye.
Mike Tirico. Oh, I'm sure his phone is blowing up now. He's calling the Mavs Sixers. Wait a minute. Let me do, this is what we would do for the mothership if they allowed some of their talent on. Tune in tonight, Mavs Sixers, at 8 Eastern on ESPN. See how that could be? Mothership? Free your mind, the rest will follow. Then it's the Mavs and Knicks with Hubie Brown, Mike Tirico on ABC on Sunday at 1 Eastern. We hope you tune in.
Back and better than ever.